I have a big massive performance screen in front of me. Now I'm loaded in here. I'm running a sort of FPS. I just got like a stutter there. Did you notice? Like you probably don't see it. Basically, it's running at 80 FPS right now. Right? Quite nice, 80 FPS with me turning around like this, and it will drop to 77, which is a slight stutter, but it's not too bad. Okay, so compared to the index, right? For instance, looking at this turtle in the index with no super sampling on, right? Now this has got no super sampling on except for what Oculus does naturally, and I can tell you right now that she's sharper in the index. She's more colourful in the index. The green stands out really well. This might be to do with how sharp it is actually, because the more you blur it, the colours are going to blur out a little as well. But the frame rate is a million times more smoother. All right, so we did this test earlier where we were stood here and we were looking at the gate, and I could see on the index all the way to here, and I could see all the way to the here on the index. So we're just past that torch on the where I'm pointing, if you can actually hopefully see where I'm pointing, and past the pillar, right? And on this, looking directly ahead, I can just see past that torch, right? And just see past that corner. So you can see how much of a big difference on the horizontal the index does on the field of view. And this was a lot more sharper in here as well. But as you can see, I had really bad performance, less performance than I have on my Rift S right now. And you can see also as well, I've got like all this headroom to overclock even more. Well, you can't see it because you can't see the performance, but basically I'm flicking between 30 to 68% performance headroom. Yet it just dropped to 77 there, even still with that headroom. So it's the stutter that's kind of doing my head in. But yes, I could probably get more performance out of this. Okay, so on the horizontal, when I was standing here, I was looking directly forward, and I can see right now to about there, and on the index it was about there, right? And the vertical upwards is about exactly the same. So a little bit more better on the vertical, on the index, a hell of a lot more better on the horizontal, and yeah, and it's a lot more sharper and a lot more colourful. The blacks are just no competition. The Rift S absolutely just kills it in my opinion, because I can literally see into corners with a lot more detail than I can on the index. The details kind of get washed out because of the blacks. The blacks are kind of not as well. You see, there's different types of blacks really, and most people don't mention this. They just want to know how black is. And but the thing is if you've got a black that can't change colors between the shades, what you end up with is like what you got with a Cosmos. Like blacks will look quite black in a Cosmos, but when I say quite black, I mean for an LCD screen, nowhere near as good as an OLED. But it will wash out a little. And when I was looking into the corner, for instance, when I was looking into this corner here, like that was quite washed out. It's quite washed out in this because it's not an OLED, obviously, but it's kind of a lot less problematic. I can actually see right into that corner, and I can see, you know, quite clearly the details of the rock just here and stuff. Where on the index, I kind of find that kind of gets a little bit kind of muddy. And for instance, I was looking on these walls and I was saying, like, can I break that earlier? And they were all fading into each other, which you can't break that, by the way. So anyway, the performance, yeah, the performance is better on the Rift S because obviously the 1440p screen, and you don't have to use Revive. Revive has been worked on. The latest Revive is better than the previous Revive. Alright, that's not good. Nice, right. See, that actually knocks off a shield off him now. I don't know if they updated that or... I swear I've got him there. Why am I not getting him here? Go on. Got him as well. Gotta watch. I think I've still got an archer behind me. I need to keep moving. Keep missing that shot. Nice one, Tail. See, like last time I played this, first time I got all the way straight to the boss at the end. If I can't even get past this part, it's going to be pretty poor, isn't it? Yeah, the performance is now up to 88 on this load screen. 90 or 98 because it's only doing 35. I don't know why this screen seems to be only 35 FPS. Getting so much dropped frames on these screens, but it's nothing new, I guess. So it means that there is room for some more performance. So maybe I can do this, and so that's kind of being a steady 80 FPS right now, and I'm still getting 60 headroom as well. In fact, that hasn't even dropped. It's not even stuttered. Oh, it stuttered a little there. And there. Oh, it went down to 72 for a second, even though the headroom was 60-70%. Well, actually, headroom 60 to 20, so I'm getting closer, that's for sure. Right, so it's sharper now. I've got to put that up. Still not as nice as the index sharp. I've got to get that to hit him so it knocks off one of these things. What's mine? I need to adjust the setting, because some people adjust the setting so it's not. How did I miss them? Got him there. Got my shield gone. Oh, I just missed his head. This is so cool throwing this thing. It's proper flipping God of War. Oh, I swear I got him there. Okay, here comes the big dude. Just set him on fire. You gotta remember he's got things above him, but they're all gone already, right? Holy shit. Alright. This guy's freaking ginormous, I'm telling you. I don't get up, man. That was his massive attack. Doing a massive attack again, Heldo. Oh, definitely block that. Come on. Big attack. Big attack. Paolo was down for the count. I'm dead. I don't know how to get this guy so hard. There's one hanging from the ceiling there I could have probably used. I think if you hit them, he becomes vulnerable. Ooh, so the performance definitely has headroom for performance that's a bit better, but obviously recording in 4K is going to drop it down. So with the Rift S, you could probably easily hit a better super sampling, a better higher frame rate. But the index is just not working very well at the moment. But don't worry about it, because like the revive is getting updated, and they did say something in the latest revive that you know, they're working on that. The genius is it Libra or something like that? See these things on the ceiling, like you can chop them down. Like I just made some of them disappear then. See how he loses a bar now? Oh, I missed him. I like side sweeping them like this, you know. Damn, where'd you go? Just hit him with the wrong one there. That shield does not last long. Damn it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, mamma mia. Oh, no, man. Can't believe that. But yeah, the headroom's really pretty decent on this and all that. Well, I'm going to go back into the index, and we're going to have a little look again just to see how bad the performance is on the indexy. So we're going to check to see if we've got some sound as well. I feel really sick all of a sudden. Oh yeah, I'm going to have to take, yeah, so we want to be out of it. Just recorded a pretty damn good video of the index. We're running pretty damn good at 80 FPS as well. It's going to probably run a little worse now because I've changed the super sampling, but let's just see. So yeah, definitely got some sound. Yeah, okay, let's go see the big boy. See, I think the color's better. I just don't think the blacks are better than the Rift S. I think the black looks more black than the Rift S, I think, but it washes out, it gets muddy. It's a very muddy black, so it kind of washes out the other blacks and greys in between. And this screen, I wish it would just not flick on and off. Did you see the flickering on and off? No, on your screen it's just solid storm, whatever it says there, Stormlands, the warriors of whatever it is, but on my screen it's just flashing. So it doesn't flash on the Rift S. It's just solid, like you guys can see it right now, and everything's moving okay. So right, anyway, yeah, like I'm getting this kind of crazy ass frame rate right now because I'm 150 super sampling. Oops, wrong button. And we are on low, and resolution is there, so we can probably drop the resolution there to get better frame rate. because that works well on the Rift S. So yeah, it's kind of it's reprojecting quite a lot. And this is what I was talking about, the blacks right now. It's kind of like a nice dark black, but it's also muddy, so it kind of washes out the corner there. The colors are a lot more bare. This turtle looks just a million times more sharper in this than it does obviously on the Rift S. And yeah. And as I keep testing this part here, see, this is a lot more colorful and it's more sharper at the moment because it's 150%, but as you can see, the frame rate is not great. But you got to remember, I'm recording in 4K, so I'm assuming if you've got a 2080 Ti, you'll be getting a steady 80 probably, if you weren't recording with 150 global. That's global basically. All right, so when I look this way, again, I'm seeing just past that pillar, and I'm just seeing past the torch, and I'm seeing just round about here, and I'm seeing round about up here, round about there. So it's pretty damn good field of view, damn good colors. It's not running as jittery anymore. It's almost like they fixed the jitter a little bit. So, oops. I'm going to do that one. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that one. See, I think it's the thing above that makes this okay, he's kind of like done for really, isn't he? If I can throw this, because you've got to let go of the grip button a lot quicker. See, it's not this that makes that come off, is it? It's... oh. I hate when he does the side one like that. My sword keeps disappearing right now as well. What? Oh, it's disappearing because it's going into my other hand because of the grip sensitivity. Ah, never mind. Anyway, I'm just going to get to the outro and I'm going to keep talking about it because at the moment I'm just not feeling too well. Well, there is a quick comparison between the Index and the Rift S, and yeah, sadly, I would have done more, but today's just been absolutely crazy, and last night has been pretty crazy as well. Got like a VR hair. Yeah. So anyway, like as you can see, the field of view is so much more better on the Index, I think, and it's quite nice to have as well. But the performance is not, but you can actually jig the performance. I noticed that when I actually changed the global setting from 150, which mine is set to 100, I could quite easily run 80 FPS even whilst recording at 4K. I think you guys, if you had a 2080 Ti, you could easily run at 150 super sampling with 80 FPS quite easily with a 2080 Ti obviously. But then obviously if you got lower, then you have to adjust that to get the performance. The new Revive obviously has fixed a lot of the jitter and stutter issues a little bit with the game. I think, I don't know, I just got the latest version now, which is 1.82, just in case you want to know. And they're going to improve on that as well as they go along. The colors are more vibrant and obviously it's more sharper in the Index. The Rift S does run smoother. I can run pretty much 80 FPS. I know there is a video showing that the frame rate being worse, but that's because it didn't work very well with the FPS counter and Revive, and I needed a restart. But it did work. It works pretty steady at 80 FPS on low settings, and the resolution scale all the way up, so it's about 120 FPS, 120 super sampling. With 4K on, it was running pretty good. The colors weren't as good. It wasn't well, it's only just a little bit worse. And sometimes I think the colors look better in the Rift S, but a lot of the time I do think it looks better on the Index. It just kind of depends on the game, I guess. The blacks, it looks blacker in the Index, but it looks muddier in the Index, I think, and I think it just doesn't look as black. What does kind of look nice black in the Rift S for an LCD. We're talking about LCD. We're not comparing against the OLED because that's not a comparison. The OLED just kills these by about, a huge margin. But the Rift S, you can see into areas a lot more easier because it's just not as muddy. So I kind of like that. The grip button on the index controller is a bit kind of painful because like when you're throwing stuff, like when I was combat on that last scene, like where, I was going, where's my sword gone? Where's my sword gone? And I completely forgot I was gripping with this hand and I was constantly switching swords. You can actually fix that in a couple of ways by holding something else in this hand or actually fixing it so your sword is in the same hand as your main hand instead of like, because normally you whip it across, don't you? And normally you whip it across and you sword fight that way. But I guess if you just pick it up from the same side and using the grip button, then you won't have that problem. So there's a ways around it to fix it, and also the bindings, you can fix the sensitivity of it and everything like that. So the index is pretty okay to use. I personally would play it in the Rift S, and this is the reason why, because the performance is just so bad in this game that, when I'm trying to record in 4K, I've just got no choice really to use the Rift S in this particular scenario. Plus the Rift S is a clean screen, and that's kind of a bonus. The God rays and the glare when you're in the game, like when I was in those scenes, didn't really affect me too much on both headsets. But when it's starting, when the game's starting up and you've got the Sanzu sign and the Oculus Studio sign, the glare is just crazy on the index. Obviously it's just like phew, smacks you in the face. But then as soon as you get into the game, it's okay. You're not going to be too bothered by it. I don't think there's I've not really played that much with the index, but I'm sure that there's not many screens where it will pop out too much to annoy you, because the color palette is quite nice on Asgard's Wrath. Asgard's Wrath is an amazing game, by the way. I'm just going to keep saying it. I just think this could be easily game of the year for me. I was going to say there's some underdogs out there that most people don't even notice, like Trover Saves the Universe and Final Assault and etc. like that, and the Vader Immortal ones that some people don't actually like and some people do like. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, so I quite like them. So yeah, I said that's the comparisons between them. It's just a major performance. It's obviously the index has a better field of view, better colors, sometimes darker blacks in areas here for sure, but muddier, so harder to see into those darker areas. But the performance is a big performance hit. But because I'm recording in 4K, that's probably why. So, I have tried it without 4K, and the performance is like about, it can be anything from 5 to 20 FPS difference. That's how much of a performance hit sometimes it can actually have. But it's really weird. It's kind of like, it's fine. It's like, I'm running like OBS is running something like only 5% of my CPU to 10% of my CPU. So it's not much, but because this is CPU bound and it seems to be CPU heavy, any performance from that tends to drag a little bit more out of my CPU, tends to just hit hard. And I think the 9900K is one of the reasons why I have personal issues with this. But if you have like a 7700K or a 6700K or one of the Ryzens, you might not have an issue with this at all. You might be perfectly fine. It might not affect you, the jitter and the stutters and stuff like that. But I've noticed today the jitters and stutters seem better. So I don't know if they brought out a patch for it or not. I've not looked. But yeah, anyway, and with the Rift S, obviously it runs smoother because you don't need to push it as hard, and you don't have the God rays. It's a bit more cleaner. Other than that, the touch controls are just absolutely amazing. I just kind of went into a posh git there, didn't I? I just remember the time like I'm really rich. I got a Jaguar in that big house. I'm very, very, very rich. I am. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, so the Rift S does have its bonuses as well. I tell you something though, 400 quid for the Rift S is an absolute steal. I noticed that my Rift S though has got, the padding around the edges and all that. Because I use a lot. I use moisturizer on my face quite a bit, and I think it's coming on to the padding a little bit. So I'm going to be starting to use my antibacterial moisturizer a little bit more as well, because then that will help with the flipping sweat, won't it? So yeah, both of them work pretty damn well. It just depends on your GPU, your CPU, depends on how much super sampling you add. You have to get used to the grip on the index. Other than that, you know, the index is definitely going to be better in clarity, field of view. The controllers obviously is a bit of a more of a downer, the chuckles. Thanks, John. So yeah, it's really up to you. I mean, I think both of them work really well, but I'd rather use the Rift S for this particular game because, like I said, recording in 4K is a bit of a performance hit, and the Rift S is easy to use. So yeah, if you like this video, please give me a like and also subscribe because it goes straight to the heart, and also hit that bell button if you want to watch more videos like this. And yeah, I love you a long time. Ciao.